Hi, this is Frode, and today we will explore 3 key ideas from The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. The Power of Now, subtitle, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. Eckhart Tolle is a renowned spiritual teacher and a best-selling author of books like The Power of Now and A New Earth. And I've been watching a lot of his videos on YouTube about a month ago, and he really strikes me as a really warm-hearted and kind and humble person. It's truly extraordinary to just see his talks and his Q&A sessions. So, being a person who has a really fast-paced lifestyle, of wanting to learn so many different things and explore new activities and do so many different things, I find the ideas in The Power of Now to be really helpful for really grounding me more in the present moment, or what's really going on right now, and not being torn in too many different directions through thinking. Then in The Power of Now, Eckhart guides us through how we can go out of our minds of constantly obsessing about the past and the future, and instead root ourselves in the present, of being here now. And this seems very bland, and you might have heard a lot of people talk about, yes, being here now, being present, but without actually doing the exercises and experiencing it for yourself deliberately, it's really hard to know what is really meant by being in the now. So anyway, there are 3 things I'd like to talk to you about today. First, what does it mean to be in the now? Secondly, what is it that stops us from being in the now? And thirdly, how can we start being more in the now? Or in other words, cultivate our presence, which is a really key word that Eckhart mentions throughout the entire book and throughout the entire A New Earth book. So, let's begin. What does it mean to be in the now? You have probably experienced this yourself at some time or several times. You might have experienced it when you became breathless at the beauty of something you saw, whether it was in nature or at a concert or whatever it might be. You might have experienced this being in the now, this full state of presence while you were performing an activity like a sport you'll enjoy or some work activity you do, where time just seemed to flow by, and you didn't really notice time at all, and hours might have gone by in what you thought were minutes. But being in the now really means that you are fully attentive and aware to your immediate experience, what's going on right now, instead of being stuck inside your mind and constantly thinking and reacting to everything that happens. So you might be fully attentive to what you are seeing right now, out in nature, or hearing at a concert, or while you're listening to music, or what you are feeling whenever and wherever you are. You can liken it a bit, liken being in the now a bit to the way a child moves through the world, with this constant sense of wonder, amazement, and curiosity at everything that happens. Everything they see and hear and feel is new to them. And it's a bit in the same way when you are being present and aware to your immediate experience. So that's pretty much what it means to be in the now. And there's one striking characteristic that I find with it, and that's feeling this sense of peace just moving into you. And you might also start feeling contentment and even joy, exhilaration at times, which it doesn't really often happen to me, but I do feel this peace and joy, which is just below the surface as I cultivate my presence during the days. And that's something we'll talk more about in the 3rd big idea. But that's what it means to be in the now, fully alert and attentive, aware to your immediate experience. So the 2nd big idea is, what is it that stops us from being in the now? In very simple terms, it's psychological time, that we are using psychological time and not using clock time. So what is psychological time? Psychological time is when you are constantly worrying about something that might go wrong in the future that you don't want to happen, or something that you are really not wanting to do, like going for a workout, taking an exam, or going to a social gathering where you might be shy and make a fool out of yourself. Or not. It doesn't matter. The psychological time also means that you are stuck in the past, constantly ruminating and recalling the things that someone said to you that you didn't like, something you said to others that you don't think was quite right, or something you did or something someone else did to you, or just something in general that happened that you didn't like. And with psychological time, you remain stuck in past and future, constantly splitting yourself in many different pieces and really making this present moment an unpleasant place to be in. But what Eckhart says we need to do instead is to use clock time, which means that you set clear goals that you want to achieve, and you create plans to achieve those goals, but then you go and be fully alert. You are absorbed into the activity that you're doing right now, which leads you to the goal, without worrying about those results that you might or might not achieve in the future. You're just fully embodying the present moment. You can liken it to the analogy of a mountain climber. Imagine that you were going to climb a small mountain where there is a forest all the way up. And in the beginning, you can see the mountaintop because the forest doesn't block your view. But then when you start walking, you realize quickly that the mountain, the forest, the trees are covering up the top, so you don't see it anymore. And when you realize this, you immediately start worrying about how much time it will take, whether you are on the right track, and you start feeling a bit tired in your legs from walking just a couple of hundred feet. And this really starts creating a worried state of mind for you, all the way to the top, if you ever get there. So that's kind of an analogy of being in psychological time, worrying about the past results that you might or might not get, and the past, which you think might impact your future in certain ways. But then, if you want to use clock time and walk up that mountain, you would also see the top. But then when you went into the forest, you would accept that it's okay not to see the top right now, and there's results might come, I might reach the top or might not. But I will just focus fully on taking careful steps right now so I don't fall or twist an ankle, and I will enjoy the beautiful nature which is around me right now. We'll listen to the birds and look at the green, lushy forest, and hear the mountain streams that are coming down. And eventually this person might reach the top, having enjoyed the entire journey, whereas the person stuck in psychological time resists the entire journey and perhaps reaches the top, where they are still miserable since the sum total of the journey is quite a failure or unpleasant. So takeaway for you, instead of using psychological time, use clock time to set clear goals, plans to achieve them, and then fully become immersed in the present with the activity that you need to do right now, without worrying so much about the results. And the third big idea is, how do you actually cultivate presence? The way you cultivate presence is pretty much the way you cultivate stronger muscles. So when you lift weights, you become stronger. You're able to lift heavier weights. You are also able to lift more with more repetitions if you train in that way. And when you run, you're able to run for a longer duration and even faster. It's the same with presence. When you cultivate your presence and practice it daily over a long period of time, then you'll learn to become more strongly present. You'll learn to snap yourself out of your mind more often, of noticing that you're stuck in reactionary patterns based on what you're thinking, and instead dropping into the moment. You're able to remain present for a longer time, and you'll get faster at going into the present. So that's the analogy of the muscle and the present. So Eckhart shares a lot of practices in the book for cultivating your presence, right now I want to share with you one which is really simple and that I use every day, whenever I remember to use it. And the technique is simply to notice your breathing, the sensations of your breath going into and out of your body, how it feels with the nostrils, and perhaps how it expands your chest or your stomach. So let's do that right now. Just 5 conscious breaths where you notice the sensation and fully focus on the sensations going into and out of your body as you breathe. So, go. Alright, how do you feel? Do you feel more a sense of calm? Perhaps you felt some more joy, whether it was from watching me just standing here or from something else? Or did you feel more content with this moment? Perhaps you released some tension that you had in your shoulders or anywhere else in your body. At least for me, I feel more relaxed right now than I did 5 breaths ago. And this is something that you can use whenever you remember it. You can use it while you're walking, while you are listening to someone speak in a conversation, when you are working. And the more you use this, the more you get used to doing this. Of doing it while you're doing other activities. And it won't really distract you from doing them. And this, again, the reason we do this is to get out of our minds of obsessively thinking about the future and the past, tearing ourselves apart inside, and instead dropping into the present, which is really the only place we can be right now. Because if you think about it, if you took a time machine, and you went into the future, what would the time be for you? It would still be now, for you in that moment. And if you took a time machine and went into the past, you would still be now. So, to summarize this book, it means it teaches you how to be here now, which is really the only place we are ever. So that's a quick look at the power of now. Let's summarize before we wrap up this video. First video we talked about what it means to be in the now, which means to be fully attentive and aware of your immediate experience instead of being stuck in your mind. Secondly, we talked about what it is that stops us from being in the now, which is psychological time of worrying about the past and worrying about the future and ruminating on the past. And instead wanting to use clock time to set goals, create plans, and perform the necessary action right now, without worrying about outcomes. And thirdly, we learned how we can cultivate our presence, which is very simply pay attention to your breathing. And you will notice peace, calmness, and perhaps joy seep in over you, especially if you're using it in stressful moments. Okay. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, you will also love the book. Please like the video, share it with some friends who might also benefit from the ideas, and subscribe to my channel so you can keep up to date on ideas for realizing your ultimate human potential. Thank you very much for watching, and have an awesome day.